모uz.ThorZaIN 경기장 도시형.
All right, guys, here we are on Shattered Temple and up at the 12 o'clock position in the green from the team mouz Sports. It is none other than the Spoon Terran himself saying, have fun, mouz.ThorZaIN. And down at the bottom of the map, winning the last game with some crazy Dark Templar antics, it is the one, the only oGs.VINES.
All right, GLHFs are traded between our two players now. We're cross positions on Shattered Temple. And kind of an interesting choice here from ThorZaIN as well. So, a guy who, even when playing Protoss players, tends to favor maps like Shakura's Plateau. It seems to be his go-to pick a lot of times. So, this is... I don't know if I've seen him specifically pick this map in quite a while.
Yeah, it's an interesting map. I mean, I always say it's maybe not the best map for tournament play now, but in a best of 9 you need a lot of maps and all that. But it's not a bad map per se, and I think in TVP it's a lot more even than some of the other matchups. But it's an interesting choice. I mean, it's a map that ThorZaIN can be very aggressive on, but it's also a map that you can play a little bit longer game if you want to, too. I've got a feeling, though, that we're going to see ThorZaIN be a little bit aggressive in this game. He loves to be aggressive in Terran versus Protoss. He plays it very differently than he plays his other matchups, and I think he's just picking this map to get in there early, do some damage, try to get a nice lead.
Well, he's already queued up a couple of SEVs, so it looks like he's bypassing gas for the time being.
I guess so.
For a 1-Rax gasless FE. His opponent
So
on the other
forget
hand,
everything I just said then.
Well, no, it still could be something of the, quick 2-base ghost variety,
I
things
was
like
expecting
that.
2 barracks, honestly.
Oh,
He's been doing it so
okay.
much lately. I was wrong. Sorry.
It certainly happens.
ThorZaIN betrayed me.
He did. He does that. Looks like a simulator up, though. And but yeah, so just one gate play now out of Vine so far. Not really sure what direction he wants to go. Gateway Expand still very, very powerful against Terran players, but he could throw us for a loop here in a bit, of course.
Yep, I would say so. And let's see. So yeah, ThorZaIN and doing some scouting. I saw that SCV come out. I was like, oh, is he going to proxy? But no, I'm still hoping against hope. But yeah, there's a command center on the low ground. It will be a 1-Rax gasless expand. He's going to need to bring that Marine down to protect the probe, so he's going to be completely safe there. Or not protect the probe. He doesn't want to protect that probe.
No, he wants to destroy that with all his might.
We want that probe dead.
Well, the probe's going to get away. It's too fast.
That's right.
Sneaks by, giggling all the way.
Yep. So I think we're probably going to see. Well, I wonder if Vines is going to go for a 1-gate Nexus expand, or if he's going to do something a little bit safer, maybe 3 gateways. He's only got 1 gas, so I would assume he wants to expand pretty quickly here. But oh wow, the SCV even gets in.
Yeah, ThorZaIN gets in just fine. Sees 1 gas up right now. Sees the cybernetic score going to work. So knows pretty much everything his opponent is up to, and decides to back on away. Unfortunately, will get shot down by the Stalker.
Sees what he needs to see. Kind of knows that it's going to be a 1-gate expand now.
We'll see if, his Vines does have almost 400 minerals now, already sending a probe down, and there it is. Nexus coming up, so a 1-gate expand against a 1-Rax gasless FE. ThorZaIN already with a bunker coming up at the front, but it's not going to be done for another 15 seconds or so. And here comes the Stalker and Zealot.
Yeah, this is pretty bad for ThorZaIN here. You always need to get that bunker up in time, but the size of the map makes it easy for the Stalker and the Zealot to get there really fast. Oh, the bunker finishes just in time, but he can just walk into the main, start to threaten some of those SCVs. The Stalker, like, I want to take a little bit more damage first.
And he has successfully done so. The SCV going to die here in a second. Actually, a couple of SCVs, so not a good position for ThorZaIN to be in.
Wow.
And finally, that Zealot does go down, but the Stalker is certainly being very, very annoying. He's going to pick off a couple more units, going after the Hurt Marines, of course, but then dies before he can kill that one. Still a nice little win for him.
There? How many SCVs went down?
3.
3. Okay, so yeah, not too bad.
I guess 2 more. He lost the scouting one as well.
Not too bad. And I mean, he does get in there and see what his opponent's doing. All right, going up to 4 gates now in a robo. Or I'm sorry, 3 gates.
3
in a
gates.
robo.
Yep. And back on ThorZaIN's side, he has added barracks number 2. This is more like old ThorZaIN a little bit. He loves this 1-Rax gasless FE into 2nd Rax and double gas. He invests in add-ons, and then he has flexibility to go into a lot of different builds, but we'll find out what he's going to move into in a bit. Looks like a 3rd Rax for now.
Yeah, you know, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him go for a Ghost Academy out of this, because he's not like a huge drop player. You know, he does like a drop here and there, but it's not like, you know, Gumiho or something where he's dropping in like 4 places at once, or Select where he's just flying all over the map with his entire army in medevacs. He likes to go for the ghost play. But as I say it, ThorZaIN again proving me wrong in this game, going for the factory instead.
Yes, he is.
For the medevacs first, I guess.
Yeah, and an engineering bait just got laid down as well, so we're going to invest in some upgrades there as well. I'm going to see +1 weapons probably here in a bit. ThorZaIN, on the other hand, looks like he's not recovering that bunker right now. He is just going to run out with his Marine Marauder force. Stim is still about, 70 seconds away from finishing that.
I actually think it's really great that he didn't salvage that bunker. I don't know where Terran's decided it was the greatest idea ever to salvage your bunkers whenever you want to move out for a push, but you know, guess what? You only get 75 minerals per bunker you salvage, and if that push fails, you're going to need those bunkers, so just leave them up. There's no reason to salvage them if you have a good economy going.
Do you really need those 75 resources right then?
Generally, you don't. Yeah, so, I don't know.
Twilight Council Double Forge coming up for Vines, though, so just producing observers out of this robo facility and going into double upgrades. Doesn't have a ton of units on the field right now, though.
Yep, not a lot of units. He's playing very aggressively macro-oriented. He's going for the double forge play like you mentioned, like we saw there. And so he's just going to kind of sit back, expand, get his upgrades, kind of max out on 3 bases, and then kind of feel it out from there.
Yeah, well, it is. If ThorZaIN is involved in the game, you're probably going to have a macro-passive game unless he kills you right away with a bunker rush.
He can be a bit cheesy sometimes in TVP.
It's good, though. I mean, it just keeps his opponent on his toes. It's nice.
Yeah, you don't want your opponent to know what you're planning. Definitely.
Blink coming up along with 1-1 at the same time, so Vines is going to not just catch up on upgrades, but push ahead here pretty quickly, especially as he's chrono boosting those out.
Yep, and here's the thing, though, is that if ThorZaIN actually keeps up on upgrades as fast as he can, he'll be able to legitimately keep up, even with chrono boost. He'll be hitting 3-3 at about the same time that Vines would.
Yeah, let's see if he moves into...
No Armory, though. Sorry, I had to jump in and say that. So.
Well, that's what I was wondering. I was about to say, we'll see if he throws down Armory and another Engineering Bay, but no, it's a Ghost Academy for now.
Yep.
ThorZaIN does love his ghosts, of course. And Combat Shields is about to finish up along with +1 as well, so this is a pretty powerful force in the middle of the map.
Yep, this is usually a good, strong time to push as Terran versus a Protoss. When your first 2 medevacs come out, you can move across the map and see what damage you can do.
And we'll see if Vines has enough. Now he's got an Immortal in the mix. He's adding in 3 more gateways, but that force is starting to bear down on him. A Marauder gets up there and says, "What's up? Going back. See you later." Probably needs to stim again, but oh, poor Marauder.
He lived.
Yay! All right, here
so
comes
happy.
Here comes ThorZaIN once again, though. We're going to see if Vines has enough to defend. He's just finishing up those other gates, so we'll get some other Warping Cycles here in a second. Couple of Zealots hitting themselves down as well. Pretty good Force Shields, actually trapping quite a few units there. ThorZaIN has to run around the side, though, and then is able to start focusing down those Zealots. Those second round of Force Shields didn't really trap all that many units. All the Zealots went down, but none of the ancillary units, the Immortals or the Sentries or anything like that.
Yeah, you can really see the cost and army supply that going for those really, really fast upgrades and everything do for Protoss. I mean, look at that. He's about 20 supply down right now to ThorZaIN. It's a pretty big deal at this point in the game. He held off that attack, but ThorZaIN could still be threatening if he wanted to.
And ThorZaIN actually already going for a couple of Vikings right now. We'll give him a perfect scout, and he's going to be able to see that Robo Bay coming up, so he'll be pretty happy once that's revealed. And we do finally have that Armory with a second Engineering Bay coming up now, so ThorZaIN going to launch into 2-2 pretty quickly now. Warp Prism making its way out at the moment, but Vines, oh, that's a lot of units. Ghost coming up to the front. They haven't thrown down any EMPs yet. Not sure if they have the energy. I would imagine they do. Oh, yeah, he does launch one. There we go.
Yep, all right, hits quite a few Stalkers as well, but that Immortal there, he needs to target down. He does that, and yeah, ThorZaIN's going to crush the rest of this.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Big advantage for him right now. So ThorZaIN up by 30 supply. He's going to fall behind on upgrades here pretty quickly, though. He's not started anymore. He did finish up that Armory and the second Engineering Bay. There's finally +2 weapons and +1 ship weapons, but 2-2 is well on the way for Vines.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be some Warp Prism harassment for Vines. We saw him pick up that Zealots and set it back down again and then head out towards the part of the map where he can do some damage maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Let's see here. I'm just checking around to see exactly what's being revealed here from ThorZaIN. But scans, sees a pretty good army, decides to run away at the moment. Warp Prism is making its way around the right-hand side of the map. ThorZaIN still doing an effective job, though, which is blocking this base.
Yeah, well, it's always nice to have something just to delay your opponent. You know, you don't need the factory at this point. in the game. So yeah, just use it to make your opponent's third base that much slower. ThorZaIN's way ahead right now economically. His upgrades, as you can see, because he didn't get the armory right away, he went for the Ghost Academy instead, are a little bit behind right now. But it could be worse. He's still in a pretty good spot. He's got a little bit of an army lead.
He's got 2-2 coming up right now with a couple additional barracks being thrown down. He is very good about investing in his infrastructure all the time and getting himself quite a few Vikings as well on the side.
Yep, he's anticipating the Colossi coming out and anticipating it correctly, in fact. So he will have +1 vehicle weapons, or +1 ship weapons at least, and a good amount of Vikings by the time that there are any Colossi out on the field. One out right now, second one about to pop pretty soon here. But yeah, with the amount of Vikings he's producing so fast, I don't think ThorZaIN really needs to worry about the Colossus too much.
Yeah, and +1 as well, like you said. So he'll have 8 Vikings here momentarily with +1. That's quite a few compared to what his opponent has on there.
Not bad,
and make sure you, you know, there is sometimes that area, though, where a Terran produces so many Vikings that they kill the Colossi, and they're like, wait a second. That's still a lot of stuff on the ground. I don't have anything to do with these. Land them and they all get killed.
You land them in their mineral line. That's where you land them.
Yeah.
A situation
I like
that.
I like the way you think.
Well, thank you.
No
I like the
problem.
way you think.
You're so nice all the time.
I know.
And so modest, too.
Absolutely.
All right.
Now, I like that ThorZaIN's building that supply depot there to watch over the rocks. That's something that's skipped by so many Terran players. But not ThorZaIN. He is smart. I would call him easily one of the best Terrans outside of Korea.
He is so smart. SMRT.
Yeah.
It's
right.
Yes. Let's
All
see. 2-2 upgrades just finishing up for ThorZaIN, though. He's already going into +3 weapons now.
How many ghosts does he have at the moment?
Not
too
ton.
many. Yeah,
just 3.
Okay. Yep, putting a lot of that gas into Vikings right now in anticipation of the Colossus, and he's going to have a lot. He's already got 12. Jeez.
Yes. And have we had any sort of Templar archives or anything like that hits? No. So there's not going to be like an immediate Archon switch whenever this happens.
Well, when you're going for the double forge, you generally don't put up the Templar archives too quick. You want to make sure to put a lot of the emphasis into the upgrades rather than into the tech.
And his Marauders are just kind of staring down the damage being done. It looks like there was a drop inside of the main at the same time, but the drop inside of the third is actually the worst one, as the same time as Blink Stalkers come up the front, but they actually run away. These Zealots off to the left were still continuing to do damage, though. So Vines, a little bit of three-pronged harassment, got a little bit done here inside of the main, more done inside of the third, and then didn't really get anything done right up the gut.
Yep, that's right. Still, though, having a supply deficit to ThorZaIN. He's still about 20 supply down and kind of has been this entire game. These little pokes by Vines just haven't been doing a lot of damage, and I think we're about getting to the point where ThorZaIN's going to move out across the map. He's getting close to maxed out. He could time this out quite nicely with +2 ship weapons and a +3 bio attack.
And there's finally our Templars. So we have some Archons coming up after that.
Yep.
+2 attacks, like you said, on those ships coming up here in a second. And my God, that's a lot of Vikings.
Yeah, absolutely. ThorZaIN, too, he's adding on some more ghosts now as well, so he's going to be prepared for the composition that Vines is sending his way. Vines, though, still not in a bad position. He's got 3 Colossi out right now. He's got Archons. He's got Zealots. I believe they do have charge, too. So Vines,
yes.
Yeah, he's got charge. So Vines looking perfectly fine here as well. This still could be easily either person's game.
3-3 finishing up for him right now. So ThorZaIN bit behind, just waiting for those upgrades to finish up. +3 weapons should be his way pretty soon. So we do have a Marine running around checking. Does see a couple of pylons over on the right-hand side. Vines taking this opportunity to move up through the gut and throws down a preemptive Guardian Shield there. But we have 6 ghosts coming out at a time now. If those 6 ghosts hit and he can land those EMPs, it'll be great. But it looks like Vines may not give him that opportunity.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, ThorZaIN sending out that Marine to scout things in his scan, too, shows him exactly what the army is. And I think that... Yeah. Okay, so the probe did see the Vikings, too. So
yes.
Vines is going to have to know how to engage this now at this point.
And we have another command center coming up. The rocks were already shot down, so ThorZaIN going to be on 4 base here pretty quick. And pretty predictably, we have a ThorZaIN game going past the 20-minute mark now. 6 more gateways, 7 more gateways being added for Vines.
Nice.
So let's see, that's going to be 7, 10, 13... 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 19
good,
gates. Wow.
Hey, if you want to reinforce fast, you need a lot of gateways, so Vines just getting ready for that type of thing. He can get into a big fight with ThorZaIN, then remax faster than he can. both of these guys are maxed out supply-wise, so something's got to give soon.
And it looks like ThorZaIN may force the issue, running those Vikings up to the front there. Does he have any Templar left over for Storms, or is it all? He has 2 Templars sitting in there. I'm not sure how much energy they have. Just enough for a Storm here in a second.
Yep.
All right, well, let's see. ThorZaIN's going to make his way up, and my God, those Vikings are so strong, but he forces the engagement. We're going to need to see some EMPs. EMPs actually hitting quite a few of the units up at the front. The Vikings are taking quite a bit of damage from Storms, but it looks like they have enough to be able to bust through the Colossi. The Ghosts sitting in behind as well. They're actually getting ravaged, but they do their job and take out the front line of Zealots.
Oh, man, EMP on that TIE Templar, but not before it gets a good Storm off. A lot of the units for ThorZaIN on very, very low health right now.
Yeah. Ooh, sacrifices some Ghosts there up the front.
Here's where those gateways are going to come in handy, I think.
Well, we'll see how many warp-ins we get in a bit, as there are quite a few banked resources now for Vines. He could mass warp in here in a second, but has not decided to do so quite yet. No warp prism hanging over ThorZaIN's base or anything like that at the moment.
Yep.
There we go. There were the Zealots that just warped in. All right. Pretty much that whole army just... Yeah. Yep. And let's see, it looks like ThorZaIN is producing Marauder and Ghost Marine at the moment. A few Vikings finally getting added now, but producing 6 Ghosts at a time at the moment.
Yeah, and he's going to need them too. This is going to be, this is kind of the crazy thing about late game TVP, is that you have to be really, really on top of the tech changes that the opponents make. Terran especially needs to be more responsive than Protoss does. Protoss is the one who kind of like dictates the game in the late game a lot of times. Terran has to be like, all right, do I need to make Ghosts now? Do I need to make Vikings? ThorZaIN obviously making the right decision, making a lot of Ghosts, and then kind of adding on a couple Vikings just to stay safe.
And Vines looks like he just wants to push on through, but he does back up the army. It allows him to start going after the Planetary Fortress. We'll see if that's what ThorZaIN wanted. And he's baiting those units back right now. EMP splashing on a lot of the Zealots, but does he have enough brute force to be able to force these units? Oh, he actually pushes them through a little choke point. That's a really good engagement.
Concave.
Lands the Vikings on the high ground as well, and he does walk through a lot of the Zealots, but there's just so much brute force army there for Vines, and he's reinforcing so well that ThorZaIN's just starting to get overrun here.
All those gateways coming in so handy for Vines right now. He's able to reinforce this so quickly, and I don't think the landed Vikings are going to be enough for ThorZaIN here. I think he's just going to be, well, I mean, he's going to push this back barely for now, but he's going to lose so much.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the Colossi gets a little bit too far forward. What ThorZaIN could take away from this, though, was that he didn't lose a base. He didn't lose any bit of his economy right there. The Planetary Fortress really wasn't threatened all that bad, and he still is at pretty good workers, though.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Oh, crazy. All right, and both players have gone through their banked resources, with ThorZaIN coming up with a 13 supply advantage right now. And another, whoa, where are you going? Okay, he's just moving up to the rest of the army there.
Yep. Don't worry, he's fine.
All right. I was worried for him.
Vines knows what he's doing, man.
The spiritual successor to Calvin and Bill.
It's okay. He's, well, okay, there we go. He was worrying me for a second. He kept walking past units. It's like, I got this, guys. 254 kills incoming. No problem.
Standard. All right. Well, Vine's going to roll his way up through the front once again. ThorZaIN has kept a pretty good supply advantage. Looks like he may just decide to, was posturing around towards the Planetary Fortress. Now going to start moving in towards it. That's going to require some very, very quick reaction times. And Storm's hitting all the SCVs in the back. The Planetary Fortress actually falls. ThorZaIN was really kept back at the moment, though. Ooh, hasn't been able to deal with the Colossi quite yet. Now does, but eats a couple of Storms right away.
Yep, and is Vines going to be able to get these units away? No, he's going to go in.
Yeah, he's just going to try and push this.
Oh, maybe not.
Okay, well, backs away now with Zealots on the field. He's reinforcing pretty well, and the big damage was, of course, done to that gold, but ThorZaIN moving over with yet another orbital command. He really hasn't put on any pressure to Vine's bases, though.
Yeah, ThorZaIN's been contained in his base by Vines really, really well this game. Vines is doing just an excellent job of just controlling the pace of everything, killing off the gold, being like, all right, you can sit on 3 bases. I've got such an effective composition versus what you have that I'm feeling pretty confident about all this. But I don't know, ThorZaIN's got a lot of ghosts on the way here. They're going to pop out ready to EMP, and supply-wise, he's still right up there with his opponent, not too far down.
Well, let's see. ThorZaIN backs away with that Marine there. Of course, this is a much less defensible base now, and it looks like Vines maybe thinking about coming back for it once again. But let's see here. How many units are on the field? Quite a few Ghosts, quite a few Vikings. And ThorZaIN's going to need to start winning this tug-of-war battle, though. He's got to watch out, make sure he doesn't get those Ghosts trapped. He hasn't launched any of his EMPs quite yet. Just delaying, being very patient at the moment. We'll see some in a bit, though. There they go. Once the Zealots start committing, he doesn't actually hit that many of them, though. So a lot of those Zealots actually have full energy. Oh, but then the next round was very successful. However, the Archons are dealing quite a bit of splash damage at the back. ThorZaIN getting pushed back one more time. A storm hits the rest of his units.
Yeah, that is going to be about it. GG, well played from ThorZaIN, and oGs.VINES gives OGS a lead 3-2 versus mouz.